Good Monday morning! So, I just installed a lamp in the background. Since the studio space is now nearing completion, I figured that I would do a little bit of a behind-the-scenes studio tour, talking about how I produce these videos. I am MPJ, and you are watching Fun Function. So this video is not going to be about programming, it's going to be how I produce programming videos. So if you're not interested in that, you can just pretend this video didn't exist and come back next week. If you are, you're in for a treat because I'm going to tell you all the magic behind how Fun Function is produced. I actually did one of these videos called Behind the Scenes 2 years ago, but some things have changed since then. Quite a bit of my gear has been updated, and I just figured it's time for an update. A disclaimer here is that if you're thinking about making programming videos, do not view this video as a prerequisite or things to buy before starting out. When I started out, I literally only had a good microphone and a laptop. I didn't have any special cameras, any fancy setups or any fancy lights or anything like that. I just started producing. And that is what you should do as fast as possible if you're interested in making videos. You should get a microphone because that's the only thing you can't really gear you can't live without. Just get a blue Yeti or something and start producing. That said, I know a lot of you are interested in what I actually use, so I'm gonna give it to you. First things first, let's talk about my microphone, because sound is the absolutely most important thing that you can have. Like, if people cannot hear your voice properly, if there's like problems in the quality of your sound, like everything else really doesn't matter. Sound is absolutely paramount. Okay, so I'm going to show you my microphone using this bugger, the Canon G7X. We're going to be talking about this a bit later. Okay, so this is the Oktava MK-012. It sits almost exactly above my head, and it is a cardioid microphone, which means that it is directional. It doesn't pick up much to the left or to the right or behind it or anything like that, so that it doesn't pick up the noise from my laptop over there. Man, this is messy. Yeah, that is basically it. I've switched to this from the blue Yeti microphone that I used to have. The reason why I did that was because I was having some noise problems with the Yeti. Not everyone does, but I did. And I also, I tend to move around. I don't like having, in order to get the Yeti to work really well, it needs to be pretty close to your face. So when I kept it at the position where I have the Oktava at the moment, it really didn't shine. That's not how the Yeti is supposed to be used. The Oktava, this is exactly how the Oktava is meant to be used, and this is a very common setup when recording voiceovers. I've learned this and picked up, like, in order to know what to buy, I watched a lot of videos by Judd. I've linked to his YouTube channel in the video description. He's amazing. I still recommend the Blue Yeti for beginners. Mostly because the sound problems that I had with it seem to be very, very rare. Most people, they work fine. Another reason why you might want to get the Blue Yeti is that it is a lot less expensive than this microphone. This microphone is kind of twice as expensive as the Blue Yeti. It sets you back about 200 euros. And it's also not a USB microphone. The Blue Yeti is basically just plug it into your laptop, USB powered, and bang, you can just start recording. Using these are not quite as simple. These microphones need phantom power, and that is provided through this thing. This is a Scarlett i2i sound card, and it's basically connected to my computer via USB, and it is what is providing the Oktava microphone with power. And you also see that it's recording my voice here. Besides the fact that we need to have an external sound card like this to provide phantom power to XLR microphones like this, is that an external sound card it's quite a big thing, and it's built only to be a sound card. The sound card in your computer is most likely pretty cheap and is going to be sensitive to interference from the computer, because there's a lot of electronics inside of the computer that it's hard to shield the internal sound card from. So whenever you connect a microphone directly to the computer, there just tends to be a bit of interference. An external sound card will just give you a better audio quality. The Focusrite Scarlett, I think I said i2i, but it's Focusrite Scarlett 2i2, will set you back about 130 euros. So this microphone and the Scarlett sound card will set you back like 350 euros. I also have this microphone stand for it. It's just a cheap microphone stand, nothing special about it. I think I paid like 50 bucks or something like that. A lot of people compliment me on my high image quality, and then they proceed to ask, what camera do you use? Thank you for the observation of my nice video quality, but your assumption that the camera is mainly responsible for it is not correct. So let me show you my lights. This setup here looks very cozy and homely, but in my face I have two of these buggers. They are two big daylight soft boxes. I can actually see if I can take this off and show you. Like, these are huge lights. It takes a while to get used to having these in your face for the hour or so that it takes to record these videos. It can be a bit rough. Let me see if I can get you a better shot. The autofocus of this thing is not having a good time. You can get these soft boxes or soft lights. You can get these anywhere, a Radio Shack or whatever. Like, these are, I just bought these at like some random cheap electronics place, and they have served me well for pretty much 3 years actually. Let me actually show you what it looks like without them. Come on here. Hello. And then I'm gonna turn this off. Hello. So they provide a lot of light. Hello darkness, my old friend. There's quite honestly not a lot of cleverness to the positioning of these. I have not spent a ton of time thinking about lighting. I plan to do more of that during this year, but like just having two soft boxes and just putting them in your face will just do wonders for your video quality. The background is very important. You see a couple of lights in it, but the most important background light is not in your view, so I'm going to show it to you. It's up here. This is just a cheap IKEA spotlight rig thing, whatever. What it does is that it will shine a few lights on the background so that it doesn't appear completely dark or flat. It gives it some kind of, it helps separate my head from the background. Over here you see some Nanoleaf Auroras. They are these kind of cool LED panels that you can program and do fancy things. I actually plan to have some kind of cool interaction with these on the live stream. on the Twitch live streams. We'll figure something out. And here's just a nice IKEA lamp, which gives the... I think it gives the room a little bit more depth, I think. Or looks just... Lights are nice. I like lamps. They are cozy. I also hope to get a some kind of plant in here in the back, and perhaps actually a plant on that table. We'll see. Perhaps it's gonna be too distracting. So, lighting, most important thing. Do not buy a fancy camera before you have good basic lighting. That said, let's look at the camera. I'm going to record the camera with the other camera. Alright, so this is the Canon 80D. This is a significantly fancier camera than I had in my last behind the scenes video. The camera that I used back then was basically a DSLR that I had lying around, and I didn't want to spend a lot of money on a fancy camera at the time. I just wanted to get started on a budget. Because, you know, gear is really the ultimate procrastination. But I ended up upgrading to this one because I really wanted a flip out screen. It's really beneficial to have the ability to see yourself and see that, oh, you're actually on screen. And since I was buying a new camera anyway, I figured that I could allow myself to splurge a little bit, and I did that on the 80D. One of the strengths of the 80D is that it has a really good autofocus. I basically don't have to do any manual focusing at all with this. I can just let the camera do the work, which is not absolutely... It's a bit of a luxury, but it just speeds up the production process a little bit, that I don't have to care about this thing. It just always finds my face. The lens that I use is actually the old piece of shit lens that comes with the... came with my old camera. And that is not... It's not per design. It's because I have this very old corporation that I postpone for... every year I just postpone dismantling it. It's just a thing I've procrastinated on for years. And I just put it on myself to... I'm not allowed to buy a new lens until I've got that done. So it's kind of like the people when they have to, when they want to finish a project, they just vow to not shave their beard until they're done. It's that kind of thing. So I don't recommend that lens. It's just a basic bullshit lens. I also don't necessarily recommend this camera. This is not the camera that I would buy today. I actually plan to upgrade this to possibly the Panasonic GH5. It's the reason for that is that I want to use the same camera for Twitch streaming as I use for YouTube, because the camera is just so much higher quality. For the Twitch streaming now, I use a separate camera, like this Logitech webcam. It's the best webcam that money can buy, but it's still a webcam, so it's like super inferior compared to this camera, or like a proper DSLR. So a Panasonic GH5 would be, and I can't use the EOS for streaming because it doesn't provide a clean HDMI output. It has, like, you can't turn off all the... I'll show you. Like these things, like there are a bunch of indicators on the screen, and you can't turn those off on this camera. And I just figured that, yeah, you can do that on the Panasonic GH5, and it is an amazing camera. It doesn't have the upper limit of 30 minutes that the EOS camera has. So you can only record for 30 minutes at a time. So I actually have to keep tabs on the how long it's recording for, and then I see it approaching 30 minutes, and I just have to stop and then start recording again. So I'm gonna do that now, actually. And there we go. So there's a lot of, tiny things around production that you eventually learn. One final note on the camera, that thing you see under there, don't pay that any mind. That's a Tascam audio recorder that I no longer use. I've switched to the Scarlett. The Tascam is a fine audio recorder, but you can't use it to record directly into the computer, which means that I had to get the Scarlett for Twitch streaming, and now I just might as well use the Scarlett for recording both audio for YouTube and for Twitch. In order to record the screen, I use QuickTime. It's very, very robust. It's included in the Macintosh, and it just works really, really well. It has never crashed on me, ever. It's just awesome. QuickTime is also what I use to get sound from this microphone, so you can just choose this Scarlett as the sound source when recording the screen, and they will be synced up together. Very nice. When I started out, I used a software called ScreenFlow. Do not use ScreenFlow. I used ScreenFlow for many episodes, and I eventually just threw it out in disgust for two reasons. One, it is, or at least was at the time, this was 2 years ago, so sorry ScreenFlow if you have fixed something. It was useless if you wanted to use a external camera source, because I record these the DSLR records video to an SD card. It doesn't work as a webcam, and ScreenFlow is designed to work with a webcam. As soon as you move outside of the webcam world, it just breaks down the whole flow. It's just not built for that, and everything is just I also found it to be very, very buggy and unreliable, at least compared to Final Cut Pro X that I use now, by the way. Final Cut Pro X. And I was hesitant to use Final Cut for the videos, because I figured that ScreenFlow was a software dedicated to producing these kinds of videos, but it turns out that Final Cut Pro is really, really nice in general for video production. It's just very robust. ScreenFlow will record and fuse your webcam and your screen recording, but it turns out that is extremely easy to do in Final Cut. I literally just pick and select my the files from my camera and the screen recordings from QuickTime, and I just press sync, and they just from the audio, the Final Cut automatically figures out where things should be, and it's synced. It's just so nice. This is the Shiznit. It's slightly more expensive than ScreenFlow, but it will be well worth your money. It is just a fantastic piece of software. It's not perfect, but as editing software goes, I've used a lot, and Final Cut Pro X is very reliable and easy to work with. Alright, I have some more tricks. Let me show you. Like, a lot of people ask me what I use to do this. Like this, where I highlight part of the screen. This software is called Mouse Pose. It's great. I really, really love it. It's a simple little thing that just makes the video go. For quite a while, I struggled with positioning windows, and the solution that I ended up with is this thing. I tried a lot of window positioning software, like a lot, but this solution is so simple, and it's extremely reliable, and it works so well. Hang on, where's my image? This is the one. So I just have this thing here. Uber Layer will it will just position this semi-transparent box on your screen. and it allows you to, well, it's just an image that I made, this red box, that happens to be exactly 1920 by 1080p wide, which is just HD resolution. And this is where I just position windows in to help me, assist me with the exact window sizing. And a lot of people just don't buy this this solution. They suggest all kinds of window managers. I have tried them all, trust me. And they are just window positioning software. It's not built for this use case. Because I need this to be pixel perfect. But window positioning software really doesn't care about that. They have a hard time calculating the exact offsets of the menu bars. So it's just, they just don't get it right. It just doesn't get right. With this thing, I see exactly what is captured, and it's just very simple for me to deal with. This thing, it's I have this dampening pad to prevent, like, to just reduce the noise from the keyboard. So this is a pretty silent keyboard, and this helps it be even more silent. It's called an Extract Ripper. Very 13-year-old cool name. I edit on a MacBook Pro, maximum specs that I bought last year. If I bought a new computer today for editing, I would probably get an iMac Pro. Video editing is just one of those areas where it just doesn't seem like you can possibly get enough computing power. Like, it's just, you can always get a more powerful computer to shave off those few extra milliseconds in response time when editing, and that really makes the editing process a lot faster. On the matter of sound, there's still some improvements to be made, because you might notice if I say something like echo, maybe perhaps you hear that the sound is still bouncing around a little bit. And that is because I have three large windows here, and I don't have anything on the walls here yet. The chair does some to help the bouncing sound, but there's gonna be some more sound treatment here. I'm gonna lay some soft mats on the floor, and probably gonna buy some sound dampening equipment, like to keep here just out of view, and perhaps here sound out of view, and some stuff on the walls as well. Like, I'm gonna link a sound treatment video in the episode description, because that can be like really, that can do a lot of bad things for your sound if you have like a room with a lot of glass or just empty walls, because I will create this echo-like effect and make it hard to hear what you're saying. Oh, by the way, when editing, I use these. These are pretty good, but cheap studio headphones. Because most headphones are problematic when doing sound editing, because they try to improve the sound for you. Like for Beats headphones are examples. Like they add a little bit of bass to make it sound better, but you don't want that when you are editing sound. You actually want to hear the problems so that you can fix them. And these are just the AKG K240 studio headphones. So what you want is studio headphones that are not messing up your sound. Reference headphones, perhaps they're called. I'll link them. I promised you to talk a little bit about this one, the Canon G7X. It's just a handheld camera. I bought it to do the walk and talks that I used to do last year. I haven't done them in a while. It's not for any particular reason. I think it's just that I haven't been inspired. It's a bit tricky. I want to go back to doing them, but right now. I'm not doing it. Oh, and one final thing, one very important gear actually. Women, you already know this, but men, if you have too big ass daylight lights in your face, they're going to expose every single problem with your complexion. Like if you have redness and stuff like that, it's going to just shine through a lot and it's going to distract the audience. So get some basic makeup powder. You can just walk into any makeup store and just ask for mineral powder and they will help you out for your skin complexion. It's just, you just get it on and it looks a lot better and a lot less distracting. If you have any further questions or thoughts, just post them in the comments down below or in the fun forum in the dedicated thread for this specific video. You can find it there. And that is it. You have just watched an episode of Fun Function. I release these every Monday morning, 0800 GMT. You can subscribe here so that you don't miss it, or you can just watch another one right now by clicking here. I am MPJ. Until next Monday morning, stay curious.